45 degrees with their palms up. When you're in this position, just relax, let yourself settle into the floor. Now when you first get into the position, check your low back and see, does it feel like it's tucked in, settled down into the floor, or does it feel like it's arched up a little bit? If it feels like it's arched up, stay in this position until you really feel it release and relax into the floor. If it is already into the floor, just relax in this position for 5 or 10 minutes and feel like you're trying to breathe into your low back and your abdominal cavity. Do some nice, slow, diaphragmatic breaths and just relax. Okay, we're now going to show you the exercise called static back pullovers. Teresa's going to extend her arms straight up over her chest, hands interlaced with thumbs parallel to each other, elbows nice and straight with the insides of the elbows pointing towards each other and the shoulders tucked down towards the floor. Then keeping the elbows straight, slowly bring your arms back over your head until either your hands hit the floor or you can't go any further without your elbows bending. Teresa's pace there is really good. Keep those elbows nice and straight. Now what some people will do is they think the goal is to get to the floor, so they'll cheat. They'll bend their elbows like Teresa's doing right there. That's a mistake. We don't want you doing that. We want you to keep your elbows nice and straight, just like that. Do 30 of those, nice and slow and smooth at that pace, keeping your stomach muscles relaxed. That is static back pullovers. Okay, now we're going to show you an exercise called hook line knee pillow squeezes. Teresa's now laying on the floor with her feet on the floor, knees bent. Her knees are bent at about 90 degrees. Feet are hip width apart and pointing straight. To get your feet pointing straight, make sure they feel a little bit pigeon-toed. Her arms are out at about 45 degrees with her palms up. And we've got a roughly 6-inch thick pillow between her knees. Keep your stomach muscles and your low back muscles nice and relaxed, and then with a nice smooth cadence, squeeze and release that pillow with about 60 to 70% of your maximum effort. So you want to feel if it feels like it's arched up off the floor, or does it feel like it's settled? You want to stay here until you feel like your low back is really settled into the floor and relaxed. Also notice, does it feel like the right and left sides of your body are even into the floor? If you feel like one side's heavier into the floor than the other, that's also indicating some postural imbalance as well. Go ahead and relax here for 5 minutes, gently breathing from your abdominal cavity. The next exercise is called static extension position on elbows. The way we teach how to get into this is start on your hands and knees with your hips right over your knees, your shoulders directly over your wrists. Then walk your hands about a hand length forward, about 6 inches. Then go ahead and put your elbows down where your hands were and your forearms flat on the ground. And you're going to notice that Stephanie is going to make a position with her hands that we call the golfer's grip. So what that's going to look like, I'm going to swing over here so you can see her hands. She's going to curl the ends of the knuckles in, pull the thumbs back. Now, in that position, what she's then going to do is she's going to drop her shoulder blades together, and she's going to pull her hips back a little bit. So now she's got her hips a few inches in front of her knees, her shoulders a few inches behind her elbows. Then imagine you've got a rubber band connecting your wrists together. Pull your wrists apart, pivoting from your elbows, so you feel that constant pressure there in your shoulders and in your shoulder blades. You're going to hold that position for 1 minute. This is a great exercise for really putting your upper back and shoulders into a better position and getting your hips to start linking back up with your upper body. Terrific exercise. The next exercise is called shoulder bridge with pillow. You're going to lay on your back with your feet on the floor, knees bent, and you want your heels just about 6 to 8 inches away from your hips. You want to make sure your feet are straight, about hip width apart, and you want to put about a 6-inch thick pillow between your knees. You want that pillow to be firm, and you want to hold it with some medium pressure. You're not squeezing it for all you're worth, but you want to put enough pressure on it that if someone came up and tapped at it, it's not going anywhere. Now, keep your upper body relaxed, but rotate your arms so your palms are flat into the floor. Keep your palms flat, keep your shoulders down. Don't let your shoulders lift up off the floor. Now, keeping some light, medium pressure, constant pressure on that pillow, Teresa's going to lift her hips up, and she's going to go up into a shoulder bridge position. Good. She's keeping some constant pressure on that pillow, and she's keeping her feet nice and flat into the floor. Keep the upper body relaxed. Keep the shoulders down. Keep the arms flat. You're going to hold that for 1 minute. This is a great exercise. both for helping change the upper back and shoulder position and for engaging your glutes and your hamstrings. Now, after shoulder bridge, the next exercise in the book is called active bridges with pillow. Teresa's going to rotate her arms so her palms are back up facing towards the ceiling, and now she's going to lower her hips back down to the floor, and then she's going to lift back up into that shoulder bridge position, keeping constant pressure on that pillow. It's important to keep your upper body relaxed, keep your shoulders down. Now, another mistake a lot of people will make when they do this is they won't keep their feet flat. They'll start to rock up on their heels like Teresa's just doing right there. You want to make sure that you keep your feet nice and flat into the ground as you slowly and rhythmically move the hips up and then back down towards the floor. Keep some light pressure and constant pressure in on that pillow. The next exercise is called Supine Groin Progressive, and it uses the wood Егоскю tower. Now, this exercise is honestly one of the most powerful exercises in our library, which seems kind of odd because it just looks like you're laying there. But there's a lot going on in this exercise, and it's really beyond the scope of this video to explain in detail everything that's mechanically and physiologically happening with the exercise. But we really want to show you a few keys on how to make sure that you're properly positioned in it. So if you've got the tower, go ahead and get yourself set up. The first thing that you want to do is you want to strap the paddles onto your feet in such a way that the paddle is on pretty firmly, so the foot's not swimming around in the paddle. Now, you want to get down where one leg is up in the same position that it would be in static back, up on a chair or an ottoman or a block. Then the other leg is extended straight up in the tower, and you want to start at the higher end of the tower. Now, you want to have your arms about 45 degrees, palms up, your upper body is relaxed. In fact, everything, once you get settled here, should be completely relaxed. Now, I'm going to go stand behind Stephanie, and one of the things you're going to notice, there's two main mistakes that our clients make when they do this exercise. One is they won't have the tower straight out from the hip, so the leg will actually be V'ing out away from the other leg. Here we've got it nice and straight. You also want to make sure that the tower is oriented so that the foot is square back to the leg. You don't want the foot twisted. You don't want it pronated or supinated. You want to make sure that foot is nice and square back to the leg. So you can see how the tower is straight out from her hip, the foot is in a nice neutral position, and Stephanie is very relaxed. You're going to stay there at a given level until either the specified amount of time has elapsed or your low back settles into the floor. Typically, the way that we'll teach this exercise is you'll stay for 5 minutes or until you feel your low back settle into the floor, whichever comes last. So for example, if you get to the first level that you're doing and you feel like after 5 minutes your low back is still arched up off the floor, we suggest you stay there until the low back settles. Now, sometimes it can be a little tricky to tell, is your low back settled or not? One way to do it is to do a little half of a pelvic tilt. Stephanie's going to roll her hips to flatten her low back, and then she's going to relax, and she's going to feel, does her low back spring up off the floor? If I get down right up close to floor level, you can see that low back is pretty flat on the floor. So after 5 minutes, she'd be ready to go ahead and come on down. So you'll then lift the foot up out of the tower, you'll go to the next level, you'll drop in there, relax, and then what I'd recommend is go ahead and do that little pelvic tilt right when you get to that first level that you're in, or when you drop down to another level, and then relax, feel where the low back is at, and then retest it after 5 minutes. It should feel like it's springing up less, and that the low back is much flatter into the floor. That's the response we get. As that happens, you're going to start to get a much more neutral hip position, which is going to start encouraging your spine to drop into a much more neutral position. We've got a lot of very cool resources and some other videos that go into this exercise in a lot more detail, and I'll link to those below here on my blog. The last exercise in the book is called air bench. You're going to start out by leaning up against a sturdy wall, and then you're going to walk your feet out. Basically what you're going to be doing here is a wall sit, for those of you who used to do those back in high school. You want to get your feet out far enough so that when you begin to squat down to 90 degrees, your knees don't go past your ankles. Now, Teresa's going to keep dropping down there until she's right at about 90 degrees. That looks great. Now, notice her knee position. We want the knees either directly over the ankles or just an inch or two behind them. You never want the knees to be in front of the ankles. Then Teresa's going to be rolling her hips to flatten her low back into the wall. That's a key component of the exercise. And then feel like you're shifting some weight into your heels. You want to feel like you're driving the weight. You want to feel like you're driving
This is called static extension position. To start, go ahead and get on your hands and knees. And a great way to start, kind of get a reference for how to get into this position, is start with your knees under your hips, wrists underneath your shoulders. Then walk your hands out about a hand length, about 6 inches. Bring your shoulders back out over your wrists. Now your hips should be about 4 to 6 inches in front of your knees. Let your shoulder blades collapse together while you keep your elbows straight. Really relax your stomach and allow your low back to arch. You're not trying to put an arch in your low back. You're just allowing that to happen. Keep your shoulders over your wrists. Don't let your upper body start to drift forward. Let your head completely relax. Let the neck and head just hang. Really important to keep your shoulder blades pinched together here, your stomach relaxed. Hold for the specified amount of time. This is static extension position. This next exercise is called kneeling ankle squeezes. Get into a kneeling position, put your hands up on a block or a chair. They're just there for balance. I want you to feel like you're standing up nice and tall on top of your knees. So the line from your knees to your hips to your shoulders is nice and straight. Don't lean forward during this exercise. Stay nice and straight. Put about a 6-inch thick pillow between your feet. Maybe it's a bed pillow folded in half if you don't have one of our pillows. And then squeeze and release the pillow using the entire inside edge of your foot. Don't just squeeze with the heel and ankle. Use the entire inside edge of your foot to squeeze the pillow. And you want to go to this cadence. Squeeze, relax. Squeeze, relax. So you don't want to get too quick with it. Take your time. Do this for the specified number of repetitions. You should start to feel this work move into your hips and your glutes, your butt muscles. This is kneeling ankle squeezes. This exercise is called frog pullovers. To start, lay on your back with your feet on the floor, knees bent. Then take your feet and rotate your legs so that the bottoms of your feet come together and touch, with your knees falling out to the sides. Just relax your legs, let them go. You're going to feel a pull in your inner thigh muscles. Then once you're in this position, you'll also feel your low back arch up a little bit. That's okay. Let that happen. It's supposed to happen. Now take your arms and extend them straight up over your chest. Interlace your hands together, thumbs parallel to each other. Keep your elbows straight and tuck your shoulders down towards the floor. In that position, keeping the elbows straight, bring your arms back over your head as far as you can without letting your elbows bend. If you get to the floor, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. Then come back up to your starting position. Part pointing straight. And now she's going to tip her pelvis forward using the deep hip muscles to create an arch in her low back. Now she's going to take her right shoulder and start rotating back, trying to keep her feet and knees pointing straight forward as best she can. She's going to take her right hand and place it on the back of the chair, really feeling like she's trying to pull that right shoulder back. She's going to take her left hand and put it on the outside of her right thigh. Rotate your head back towards that right shoulder as much as is comfortable. You want to feel a nice stretch, but don't strain your neck as you do this. Keep your knees even. Don't let one knee slide in front of the other. You're going to hold this position for 30 seconds, and then you'll switch and do the other side. This exercise is sitting cats and dogs. It's a great exercise for creating hip, pelvic, and spinal mobility in a confined situation. So Katie's going to sit with her feet 6 inches apart, pointing straight, knees bent at about 90 degrees. Now, she's going to allow her pelvis to kind of drop back and her spine to round, and she's going to bring her shoulders down and she's going to tuck her chin down towards her chest. And now she's going to slowly roll the other way. She's going to use her hip muscles to pull the pelvis forward, creating an arch in the low back, bringing the shoulders back, and then lengthening the spine and the neck. Don't strain your neck, just feel like you're making it long. And she's going to smoothly go back and forth between these two positions, allowing the spine to flex and then taking it gently through extension. Make sure the hips and the spine are working together as a team. It should really feel like this is a hip-driven exercise and the spine is participating. This exercise is sitting elbow curls. Sitting in a chair, get your feet 6 inches apart, pointing straight, knees in line between ankles and hips. Use the deep muscles of your hip to tilt your pelvis forward and put a little arch in your low back. Now hold your hands in front of your face, palms facing out. Curl the very ends of your knuckles in and pull your thumbs down. We call this the golfer's grip. Now put your knuckles on your temples, middle fingers even with your eyes. The reason we do the golfer's grip is to try to keep the wrists as straight as we can. Now pull the elbows back as far as you can, and now let your knuckles hinge on your temples as you try to bring your elbows together in front of you. Back and forth. Keep that arch in your low back. You don't want to allow your wrists to bend. You want to keep your wrists as straight as you can. Bring the elbows in all the way until they touch. If you can't get your elbows to touch in front of you, that indicates you've got a little bit of limitation in your upper back and shoulders. That's something we want to address. But don't bend your wrists in order to get your elbows touching. Just do the best you can. We're going to have you do 15 of these. This exercise is standing gluteal contractions. Stand with your feet about 6 inches apart, pointing straight. I want you to feel like you've got a little bit of big toe pressure. Feel like you're standing up nice and tall. Now clench and release your glute muscles. Squeeze, relax, squeeze, relax, squeeze, relax to that cadence. As Егоскю would coach clients, feel like you're trying to crack a walnut between your butt cheeks. Now, keep your stomach muscles and your thigh muscles relaxed. Try to just isolate your glutes. If you can't find your glutes in this exercise, if you're trying and it feels like nothing's happening, point your feet out about 45 degrees, and now try. That position gives you advantaged access to your glute muscles. If you can do it there, do it in that position, and then as it starts to get easier, go back to feet pointing straight. This exercise is standing overhead extension. Again, you're standing with your feet 6 inches apart, pointing straight. I want you to feel like you've got a little bit of big toe pressure into the ground. Now take your hands and interlace them together and push your palms up towards the ceiling. Get your elbows straight, but keep your shoulders tucked down. Now bring your arms as far back over your shoulders as you can. Feel like you're pushing the palms up towards the ceiling. If you can comfortably do so, look up towards your hands. If that creates neck strain, you can keep looking forward as you do the exercise. We're going to have you hold this for 1 minute. In the muscles in the top of your thigh up into your hip. If at 24 inches high, if it creates too severe a stretch, if it's painful for you, or you can't keep the knee under the hip, if the knee wants to move out to the side, then use something lower. That's fine. You're going to hold this for the specified amount of time, and then you're going to switch legs. This is standing quad stretch. This exercise is gravity drop. To do this, you either need stairs with railings or a little step ladder like we have here. Let's assume you're going to use a step ladder. Set it up in a doorway where you can hold on to the door jamb. Then go ahead and step up on the bottom rung. You want to wear shoes when you do this. Now get your feet about 6 inches apart, pointing straight, and you want the balls of your feet right on the front edge of your step ladder. Hold on nice and securely, and then you're going to let the heels drop. Now, you want to use what I call the shoelace test. You really want to try to get yourself as vertical as possible. So the shoelace test is look down at your feet and pull your hips back until you can see your shoelace knot, and then straighten your upper body up on top of that. Really feel like you're nice and vertical from ankle to knee to hip to shoulder to ear, and just allow your heels to sink into the position. You're going to feel, for many of you, a big stretch in your calves. You're going to hold this for the specified duration. It's a great exercise for realigning your body in a vertical position, retraining it to get back to straight, ankle, knee, hip, shoulder, and ear, all in a vertical line. This exercise is gravity drop. This exercise is called Canter Stretch. To do it, you need to have something that you can put your hands on that's roughly about chest high. It can be a bookcase. In this case, we've got a block on top of a table. I've got clients that use dressers, for example. The exact height isn't critical. It can be a few inches too high, a few inches too low, but roughly about this high is what we're looking for. put your hands on top of it and then walk back with your feet. The ideal is we want to get your heels so they're directly underneath your hips when we drop you down into the position. You're going to get your feet nice and straight. You're going to tighten up your thighs. What you've got to do here is you've got to keep your knees straight. You can't let them bend. Then you want to roll your hips to put a nice arch in your low back. Keep your elbows straight, and you're going to drop into the position and hold for the specified duration. Remember, keep your knees straight the entire time. Keep them locked out. Keep your elbows straight and really drop into the position. This is called Canter Stretch. And you want your feet about 6 inches apart and pointing straight. 6 inches is about the length of a dollar bill. Okay? Now put that pillow between your knees. Now sit up nice and tall, and I want you to roll your hips to put a big arch in your low back. Keep your shoulder blades lightly pinched back together. Keep your shoulders over your hips. And now squeeze and release that pillow to a nice smooth cadence. Squeeze, relax, squeeze, relax, squeeze, relax. You're going to start to feel that work move into your inner thighs. Keep the arch in your low back. That's really important. As you begin to fatigue, you're going to feel how you don't want to hold that arch. The arch is really important. It's making the muscles in the hips work that we want to be doing the work. Do this one for the specified number of repetitions. This is sitting knee pillow squeezes. This next exercise is called sitting abductor presses. You're going to sit in a chair. Again, just like the last one, you want to be sitting about in the middle of the seat, not right up against the back, not right on the front edge, and you want to have a strap with you. Go ahead and put the strap around your knees. Thread your feet through there. And you want to have the strap tightened up so that your knees are roughly about a fist width apart from each other. You don't want them too wide, you don't want them too close. Good. Get your feet about 6 inches apart, pointing nice and straight, and then roll your hips to put a big arch in your low back. Keep your shoulders over your hips, and now pull out on the strap and relax. Pull, relax, pull, relax. You're going to feel that work start to move up into your outer hips, the outside of your hips. If you don't feel that happening, start to pull just a little bit harder. You're not trying to break the strap, but you want to be pulling enough that you feel like you're working. Do this for the specified number of repetitions. This is sitting abductor presses. This next exercise is called sitting floor. Go ahead and sit on the floor and get your butt and your back right up against a wall. Get as tight up against the wall as you can. Straighten your legs out in front of you. Tighten up your thighs hard. Flex your feet back towards your knees hard. If your heels come up off the ground like Stephanie's are, that's just fine. Don't worry about that. That's actually great. Pinch your shoulder blades together and down. Rest your hands in your lap with your palms up. And it's really important to get your feet so that your feet are pointing straight up and down. You don't want them to rotate out to the side. You also want to keep them square to the leg. You don't want the foot twisting in or out. Hold this position for the specified amount of time. It's a great position for relinking ankle to knee to hip and helping to put your upper back, shoulders, and neck into a more sound postural position. This exercise is sitting floor. To put an arch in her low back. She's now going to cross one ankle over the other knee, and she's going to take her right hand and dig a finger in between each toe of the left foot. And you want to get your fingers deep down to the base of the foot between those toes. If you've got a really strong case of plantar fasciitis and those tissues are tight, it may be a little painful to get the fingers in there. Really work them in there. The more you do this, the better it's going to feel. And the better this feels, the better your foot's going to feel. Now that she's got it in there, she's going to take her hand and move the foot in circles, big circles, and she's going to do 20 in one direction, and then she's going to do 20 in the opposite direction. And after she does those, she's then going to flex and point the foot. Big range of motion. The foot itself needs to be passive here. I don't want you working with the foot and ankle. The work is being done by the hand that has the fingers in between each toe. We're really working to mobilize the ankle joint and the tissues of the foot. After you do 20 circles each way, 20 point and flexes, you'll then switch feet. This exercise is supine foot circles and point flexes. It's a great exercise for restoring both mobility and strength to the ankle and foot. Katie's going to straighten one leg out on the floor, lightly flexing the foot back and keeping that leg pointing straight up towards the ceiling. She's going to lift the other leg back up off the floor and pull the knee towards the shoulder, supporting the leg with her hands underneath the knee, not on top of the knee. Katie, drop your foot about 2 inches. There, see now she's got her shin parallel to the floor. That's where I want that leg. Now, she's going to make nice big circles with her foot. And for demonstration purposes, just do 10 one way and then 10 the other way. Notice how she's making a nice big circle with the foot, and the toes are involved. It's not just the foot hinging on the ankle joint. So she's going to do 10 one way, and now she's going to reverse and do 10 the other way. At the end of the circles, now she's going to point the foot and then pull the foot back. When you point the foot, I want you to scrunch the toes like you're trying to make a fist with your foot. When you flex the foot back, I want you to pull the toes back and try to spread them apart. Point and flex. Point and flex. I'm going to have you guys do 20 circles each way and 20 point and flexes, and then you'll switch legs. This is supine foot circles and point flexes. This next exercise is supine calf and hamstring stretch. Now, while it will stretch the calf and hamstrings, one of the main functional purposes of the exercise is to relink the ankle, knee, and hip and get them working together as a team. You're going to need a strap or maybe a towel. And what Katie's going to do is she's going to put that strap right around the foot where it's just below the ball of the foot. This is the first position for the exercise. There's going to be 2 positions per leg. Katie is going to position her left thigh so that it's parallel to the right thigh. She's going to flex the foot back and tighten that thigh. And she's going to keep that foot pointing straight back at her. Don't let your legs start to point out to the sides. Keep your shoulders relaxed and down as you do this. You're going to hold that for a minute. Then what Katie is going to do is she's going to slide that strap just above the heel. That's position 2. She's going to go right back in the position that she was in. She's going to tighten up that thigh, and then she's going to flex that leg back, pulling it back towards her shoulder. What's super important here is do not let the knee bend. Don't pull it past the point where the knee can maintain full extension. Keep that knee straight. You're going to hold that for a minute, and then you'll switch legs. Is hook line knee pillow squeezes. Again, you're going to be in the hook line position, lying on your back, feet on the floor, knees bent, shoulders relaxed, palms up. Feet should be about 6 inches apart, pointing straight. You're going to take a pillow, should be about 6 inches thick and have some firmness to it. Maybe a bed pillow folded in half. Put it between your knees, and now keeping your stomach muscles relaxed, squeeze the pillow and relax. Squeeze, relax. Squeeze, relax. Squeeze, relax. You should feel like you're squeezing with about 60% of your intensity. Enough that you're working, not so much that you're straining. Do 20 of these. The next exercise is assisted hip lift position. Start in the hook line position again, feet on the floor, knees bent about 6 inches apart, upper body relaxed, palms up. Now, Katie's going to cross her right ankle over her left knee. Using the muscles of her right hip, she's going to push the right knee out away from her, pushing just enough that she's feeling some work in that right hip, but again, not straining. Keep the stomach muscles and the upper body relaxed, constant tension out on that right leg. You're going to hold that for 30 seconds. Then after 30 seconds, you'll uncross and switch to the other side. Left ankle over right knee, and you'll hold that for 30 seconds. Then the last exercise in this sequence is the frog position. Going from the hook line position, Katie's going to bring the bottoms of her feet together so they touch, and she's going to allow her knees to relax out to the sides. You're not pushing your knees out, you're just allowing gravity and body weight to take them where they go. Just relax into the position. Keep your arms relaxed, stomach relaxed. you should feel your low back slightly arch up off the floor. Let it. Do not try to keep your low back flat. One of the functional intentions of the exercise is to restore a normal curvature in your low back. You're going to relax here in this position for 1 minute. This is the last exercise in this sciatic sequence. When you finish the 1 minute here in frog, what we want you to do is then cycle back and do this entire sequence of 4 exercises 2 more times. Big circles with your shoulders in one direction. You're going to go up, back, down, forward, up, back, down, and forward. Nice and smooth. Really feel your shoulders moving through a full range of motion. You're going to do 10 of those in one direction, and then after you do 10, then you're going to switch and go the other direction. So up, forward, down, and back. Up, forward, down, and back. You're going to do 10 of those in one direction, then switch 10 in the other direction, and you're going to repeat that 3 times. That's standing shoulder rolls. This exercise is called Inline Gluteal Contractions. Stand with your feet in a row, so you've got one foot right in front of the other, the heel touching the toes of the back foot. Your weight should be even between the front and the back foot. Both feet should be pointing straight. If you need to hold on to something for balance, like a wall or the back of a chair, please feel free to do so. It's really important that you don't put yourself at risk of falling in this exercise. Once you're in position, then you're going to squeeze and release your gluteal muscles. Squeeze and relax. Squeeze, relax. Squeeze, relax. You want to focus on just contracting the glutes, keeping your stomach muscles and your thigh muscles relaxed. You're going to do the specified number of repetitions, and then you're going to switch feet positions. So you're going to have the back foot move to the front foot move to the back, and repeat the specified number of repetitions, and you're going to do that for 3 sets. This exercise is inline gluteal contractions. This next exercise is called standing at wall with pillow. And as you can see, you're standing at the wall with a pillow. You want to have about a 6-inch thick pillow, maybe a bed pillow folded in half. Your heels should be on the wall, feet about 6 inches apart, pointing straight, and then your butt, your shoulders, and your head should be touching the wall. You want the pillow between your knees, and it should feel like it's putting a little bit of pressure outward on the inside of your knees. Holding the pinch is going to make the range of motion a little bit smaller, but that's okay. What's most important is maintaining the shoulder blades pinched together throughout the exercise. This is called standing shoulder shrugs. This exercise is called frog pullovers. To start, lay on your back with your feet on the floor, knees bent. Then take your feet and rotate your legs so that the bottoms of your feet come together and touch, with your knees falling out to the sides. Just relax your legs, let them go. You're going to feel a pull in your inner thigh muscles. Then once you're in this position, you'll also feel your low back arch up a little bit. That's okay, let that happen. It's supposed to happen. Now take your arms and extend them straight up over your chest. Interlace your hands together, thumbs parallel to each other. Keep your elbows straight and tuck your shoulders down towards the floor. In that position, keeping the elbows straight, bring your arms back over your head as far as you can without letting your elbows bend. If you get to the floor, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. Then come back up to your starting position. That's frog pullovers. This next exercise is called standing elbow curls. It's a great exercise for restoring the shoulder's hinge function. Standing up against a wall, heels touching the wall, feet hip width apart, pointing straight. You want to feel like your weight's nice and even again between the heels and the balls of your feet. Now, hold your arms up in front of your head, palms facing out, curl the ends of your knuckles in, point your thumbs straight down, and now put your knuckles right on your temples. Now you want to keep your head and your upper back on the wall throughout the exercise. Now you're going to allow your knuckles to rotate on your temples as you bring your elbows together, keeping your elbows level, and now you're going to bring your elbows back into the wall. As you bring your elbows together, do not let your upper back come off the wall. You're going to feel how you're going to want to lean forward just a little bit. Resist that temptation. Stay vertical, stay up against the wall. Elbows together, elbows back. Keep your wrists nice and straight. Don't let your wrists bend.
Like this and
is
your pelvis
elbow.
and shoulders are kind of dropped down and relaxed into bad posture. All you have to be thinking about is straightening up your feet and getting your getting your toes fist width apart so that your feet are dead straight, almost feeling like they're turned in or slightly pigeon-toed. That is key to the exercise because it changes the relationship of your leg into your hip joint. That sets you up for everything and grounds you to the floor. Your next position is when we bring your hands out of a fist and into what we call the golfer's grip, where we bring the palms and the fingernails together like this, nice and stiff at the wrist and hands. And then we're going to take that, and that's for the remainder of the exercise and including the next one. Drop your arms and relax your shoulders. You're going to lightly pull your shoulder blades together behind you. So the movement is not throwing your chest out. It's just sliding your shoulder blades together and hold. So you want to relax this, and you want to just bring your shoulder blades together and hold that. Bring your arms up to the side and circle forward 40 times. You're going to keep the tension in between the shoulder blades the entire time. And if you see your arms coming up in front of you, where you can see that out of your periphery, you need to bring them back and reset them behind you and beside you. So again, you're holding the shoulder blades pinned together to put your shoulders in a more advantageous position to get the exercise done. After 40 of those, you're going to go palms up, same hand position, shoulders down and back. And if you have to, you can lower them down, shoulder blades pinned together, up, and then circle up and back 40 times. Try to make full circles. Don't just move the arms back and forth like this. It's a full circle motion to get it done for the 40 repetitions. Okay, same foot position. We're going to do what we call elbow curls. Same hand position, place it against your temples, and then thumbs down, close your elbows together in front of you, open them up. Try to close them right at your chin level, and then open. Close, open. We'll go to 20 to 25 repetitions. You can even go up to 35 if you'd like. And if you want to make this a little bit more challenging at home, you can put your back up against the wall, but of course make sure your feet are pointed directly straight ahead. Okay, the next exercise is the overhead extension. You're going to interlace your fingers together, drop your shoulders, get your palms pointed away from you to start. Drop your shoulders again, lock your arms out, take that up over your head to where your shoulder stops the movement. Now, when I'm in this position, I'm lightly looking up like this. I'm not leaning way back. I'm just looking up at my hands, and then I'm trying to bring my arms back the entire time, make it a little bit more active. From the side view, what I do not want you to do is bring your arms back by leaning back and compressing on your spine. That's going to lead into some severe back pain. So wherever your shoulders stop moving, that's where the exercise stops. Keep your elbows locked out, look up, and hold that position. You'd hold that for about a minute. You could go as low as 30 seconds. But those are some quick exercises to change your shoulder blade rotation. The one last exercise I want to show you is, remember, what I call the ultimate abdominal exercise. You're going to set yourself up as if you were going to go on a 50 or 100-yard sprint. Come up off the heel and the back foot, have it turned out about 45 degrees. The weight's on both feet, but really loaded up on this front leg. And then the motion is just with your arms, just as if you were going to go sprinting. So I'm showing you the slow motion right now just so you can see the actual motion with my arm is this. Not this, and not this. So you want to get yourself set, nice and loose, loading up both legs, and here we go. We're going to do this, and then you start going full speed. And you can hear what it's done to my breathing and my talking because my deep abdominal muscles and my peripheral abdominal muscles have to contract along with my back and hip muscles to stabilize this movement. You do that for about 30 seconds, and then you switch sides. Again, up on the ball of the foot, heel slightly up, ready, go. And you would do this motion again, and you can hear what it's doing to my breathing and my voice. Now, if you want to see what that's doing or feel it, you have somebody get in this position, you walk up behind them, put your hands on their waistline, into their abdominal area, and you'll feel that it's kind of relaxed. The minute they start doing the sprint, the abdominal muscles seize themselves down,